All right, Calc 2, let's get further into our discussion on series with Taylor and Maclaurin series. So we've seen how geometric series can be used to generate a power series for functions such as f of x equals 1 over 1 minus x or g of x equals 3 over x minus 2. Now we can expand our capability to represent a function with a power series. This section shows how many functions that are infinitely differentiable generate power series called Taylor series. In many cases, these series provide useful polynomial approximations for the original functions. Because approximation by polynomials is really useful to both mathematicians and scientists, Taylor series are an important application of the theory of infinite series. So, we know from Theorem 21 that within its interval of convergence I, the sum of a power series is a continuous function with derivatives of all orders. But what about the other way around? If a function f of x has derivatives of all orders on an interval, can it be expressed as a power series on at least part of that interval? And if it can, what are the coefficients? Well, that last question we can answer pretty easily and readily if we assume that f of x is the sum of a power series about x equals a. Right, so the sum of n to infinity of x a sub n times x minus a to the nth minus power, or to the nth power, right, with a positive radius of convergence, right? By repeated term-by-term differentiation within the interval of convergence, I, we get all these f primes, f double primes, and f triple prime, where the nth derivative is n factorial times a sub n plus a sum of terms with x minus a as a factor. Since these equations all hold at x equals a, we have f prime of a equals a is 1, f double prime of a is 1 times 2a2, f triple prime of a is 1 times 2 times 3 times a3, and in general, the nth derivative of a, right, is n factorial times a sub n. These formulas reveal a pattern in the coefficients of any power series from n to infinity a sub n times x minus a to the nth power that converges to the values of f on the interval I, which stands for, right, quote, represents f on I. If there is such a series, which is still an open question, then there is only one such series, and its nth coefficient is a sub n equals the nth derivative of f of a over n factorial. If f has a series representation with the center at a, then the series has to be f of x equals f of a plus f prime of a times x minus a plus f double prime of a over 2 factorial times x minus a squared plus f n prime of a over n factorial times x minus a to the nth, and so on and so forth. But if we start with an arbitrary function f that's infinitely differentiable in an interval containing x equals a, and use it to generate the series in equation 1, does the series converge to f of x at each x in the interval of convergence? Well, the answer is maybe. For some functions it will, but for other functions it will not, as we're going to see later. So, the series on the right-hand side of equation 1 up above, this thing, right? This is the most important and useful series that we're going to talk about in this chapter. So here's our Taylor series definition, right? Let f be a function with derivatives of all orders throughout some interval containing a as an interior point. Then the Taylor series generated by f at x equals a is the series of all k from 0 to infinity of the kth derivative of a over k factorial times x minus a to the k power. So that's f of a plus f prime of a times x minus a plus f double prime of a over 2 factorial times x minus a squared plus, right? Plus the nth derivative of a over n factorial times x minus a to the nth power. The Maclaurin series of f is the Taylor series generated by f at x equals 0. Or, right, f of 0 plus f prime of 0 x plus f double prime of 0 over 2 factorial x squared plus, right? Plus the nth factorial of f at 0 over n factorial, or plus the nth power of the nth derivative of f, of the nth derivative of f at 0 over n factorial times x to the nth power, and so on and so forth. So that's Taylor series and Maclaurin series. And the Maclaurin series generated by f is often just called the Taylor series of f. So, we want to find the Taylor series generated by f of x equals 1 over x at a equals 2. Where, if anywhere, does the series convert to 1 over x? Right, we need f of 2, we need f prime of 2, we need f double prime of 2, right? If we take derivatives, we get f of x is x to the negative first power, f prime of x is negative x to the negative second power. F double prime of x is 2 factorial x to the negative third power. Right? The nth derivative of x is negative 1 to the nth power times n factorial times x to the negative n minus 1 power. So that f of 2 is 2 to the negative first power, which is 1/2. Right? F prime of 2 is negative 1 over 2 squared. F double prime of 2 over 2 factorial is negative 2, or 2 to the negative third power, which is 1 over 2 cubed, and so on and so forth. The nth derivative of f at 2 over n factorial equals negative 1 to the nth power over 2 to the n plus 1 power. The Taylor series is f of 2 times f prime of 2 times x minus 2, or plus f prime of 2 times x minus 2, minus f double prime of 2 over 2 factorial times x minus 2 squared, plus, right, which is the nth derivative of f at 2 over n factorial times x minus 2 to the nth, and that equals 1/2. Minus x minus 2 over 2 squared, plus x minus 2 squared over 2 cubed, right, minus x minus 2 to the fourth over 2 to the fourth, and so on, right, which gives me plus negative 1 to the nth power times x minus 2 to the nth power over 2 to the n plus 1 is our kind of series function statement. This is a geometric series with a first term equal to 1/2 and a ratio which is r equal to negative x minus 2 over 2. It converges absolutely for the absolute value of x minus 2 at less than 2. And its sum is 1/2 over 1 plus x minus 2 over 2, which cleans up to 1 over x. In this example, the Taylor series generated by f of x equals 1 over x at a equals 2 converges to 1 over x for the absolute value of x minus 2 is less than 2, which means x between 0 and 4. So now let's talk about Taylor polynomials. The linearization of a differentiable function f at a point A is the polynomial of degree at most 1 given by p1 of x, which is f of a plus f prime of a times x minus a. In section 3.11, we used this linearization to approximate f of x at values of x near a. If f has derivatives of higher order at a, then it has higher order polynomial approximations as well, one for each available derivative. These polynomials are called the Taylor polynomials of f. So let f be a function with derivatives of order k for k equals 1, 2, all the way up to capital N, in some interval containing a as an interior point. Then for any integer n from 0 to capital N, the Taylor polynomial of order n generated by f at x equals a is this polynomial, right? P sub n of x is f of a plus f prime of a times x minus a plus f double prime of a over 2 factorial times x minus a squared plus, right, plus f the kth derivative of a over k factorial times x minus a to the k power plus, and plus the nth derivative of a, or the nth derivative of f of a over n factorial times x minus a to the nth power. So we speak of a Taylor polynomial of order n rather than degree n because the nth derivative of f at a may be 0. The first two Taylor polynomials of f of x equals cosine x at x equals 0, for example, are p0 of x equals 1 and p1 of x equals 1. Right? The first order Taylor polynomial has degree 0, not 1. And just as the linearization of f at x equals a provides the best linear approximation of f in the neighborhood of a, the higher order Taylor polynomials provide the best polynomial approximations of their respective degrees. Okay, for example 2, we want to find the Taylor series and the Taylor polynomials generated by f of x equals e of x, or e to the x power, right, at x equals 0. Right, since the nth derivative of x, all of these derivatives are just e of x, right? And the nth derivative of f at 0 is just 1 for every n from 0, 1, 2, right? The Taylor series generated by f at x equals 0 is, right, f of 0 plus f prime of 0 of x plus f double prime of 0 over 2 factorial x squared plus, right? Plus the nth derivative of f at 0 over n factorial times x to the nth power, right? That's 1 plus x squared over 2 plus x to the nth over n power, or n factorial, right? That equals the series, the sum of all k equals 0 to infinity of x to the k power over k factorial. This is also the Maclaurin series for e to the x power. In the next section, we're going to see that the series converges to e to the x power at every x. The Taylor polynomial of order n at x equals 0 is p sub n of x, which is 1 plus x squared over 2 plus x to the third power over 3 factorial plus x to the fourth power over 4 factorial plus x to the nth power over n factorial. Example 3 wants us to find the Taylor series and the Taylor polynomials generated by f of x equals cosine of x at x equals 0. Right, the cosine and its derivatives are f of x equals cosine of x, f prime of x is negative sine of x, f double prime of x is negative cosine of x, and the third derivative is sine of x, and then it cycles, right? It keeps on going, right? The 2nth derivative of x equals negative 1 to the nth power cosine of x, right? So all of the even derivatives are negative 1 to the nth power cosine of x. The 2n plus 1th derivative of x, so all of the odd derivatives are negative 1 times to the n plus 1 power times sine of x. And at x equals 0, the cosines are 1 and the sines are 0. So the 2nth derivative of 0 equals negative 1 to the nth power, right? And the 2n plus 1th derivative at 0 is just 0. The Taylor series generated by f at 0 is f of 0 plus f prime of 0x plus f double prime of 0 over 2 factorial times x squared plus f triple prime of 0 over 3 factorial times x cubed, right? For this, that becomes 1 plus 0 times x minus x squared over 2 plus 0 times x cubed plus x to the fourth over 4, right? We get zeros at every other term here, right? And that's the series of all k equals 0 from 0 to infinity of negative 1 to the kth power times x to the 2k over 2k factorial. And this is also the Maclaurin series for cosine of x. Notice that only even powers of x show up in the Taylor series generated by the cosine function. And that's consistent with the fact that it is an even function. We're going to see in section 9.9 that the series converges to cosine of x at every x. Because the 2nth derivative at 0 is just 0, the Taylor polynomials of order 2n and order 2n plus 1 are identical, right? So p2n of x is p2n plus 1 of x, which is 1 minus x squared over 2 factorial, plus x to the fourth over 4 factorial, plus, right? Plus minus, I should say, which is plus negative 1 to the nth power times x to the 2nth power over 2n factorial. Figure 9.3 shows how well these polynomials approximate f of x equals cosine of x near x equals 0. Only the right-hand portions of the graphs are given because the graphs are symmetric about the y-axis. Here's the figure right above here, right? And this is our P0 is a straight line, right? And we see, right, that we have all of the even ones out shown up here, right? Right, all these polynomials converge to cosine of x as n approaches infinity. Example 4, it can be shown, though not easily, that f of x equals 0 at x equals 0, and e to the negative 1 over x squared when x does not equal 0. That has derivatives of all orders at x equals 0, and the nth derivative at 0 equals 0 for all n. This means that the Taylor series generated by f at x equals 0 is f of 0 plus f prime of 0x plus f double prime of 0 over 2 factorial x squared, our standard Taylor series setup. And here this is 0 plus 0x plus 0x squared plus a bunch of zeros, right? This series converges for every x. Its sum is 0, but it converges to f of x only at x equals 0. Right? The Taylor series generated by f of x in this example is not equal to the function f of x over the entire interval of convergence. So we get two questions that are remaining here. For what values of x can we normally expect a Taylor series to converge to its generating function? Or, how accurately do a function's Taylor polynomials approximate the function on a given interval? Well, the answers are provided by the theorem of Taylor in the next section. And that's the end of our Taylor series and Maclaurin series intro. Get at this stuff quickly, right? Just like I said in the last section, and really every section now, right? We really got to get into this stuff quickly because this is brand new math. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next section.